Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to explore a really powerful idea in Buddhist practice. It's this shift from just, going through the motions and rituals to a much more personal, more empowered way of looking at our spiritual lives. It's really all about taking the reins and building your own path. So let's just jump right in with a question that honestly kind of stops you in your tracks. Are we practicing our faith like little babies, just sitting there waiting for someone to feed us spiritually? It's a pretty provocative thought, and it's really the heart of everything we're going to unpack today. All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll dig into this whole idea of being baby Buddhists. Then we'll get to the real truth about precepts and how that ties into karma. After that, we'll see why even that might not be enough and what a real spiritual safety net looks like. And we'll wrap it all up with a really powerful idea, that we are the architects of our own lives. Okay, first up, are we baby Buddhists? This whole section is really about taking a hard look at how common it is to rely on other people, on external rituals for our own spiritual well-being. So the source material uses this incredible analogy. It says many of us just show up and we passively wait for a monk to kind of feed us the precepts, as if that formal little ceremony is what actually makes us good people. But does that really make sense? I mean, think about it. If a monk could just give you virtue, wouldn't everyone who ever asked for it be a perfect saint by now? And that question brings us right to the core of this whole thing. We've got to really understand what precepts truly are. See, it's not about what you get from someone else. It's about what you do yourself. It's a huge shift, moving from a passive thing to a super personal commitment. Let's break this down because the difference here is everything. On one side, you have receiving precepts. That's like a formal one-and-done event. But on the other side, the real practice is observing them. And that is an active, moment-to-moment choice that you have to make inside yourself. It's a way of being, not a certificate you hang on the wall. That right there is the true essence of sila, of real virtue. So how does this actually look in real life? Okay, picture this. You've just left the temple. You're feeling pretty good. You've formally taken the precepts, including the one about not killing. You get home, you're sitting peacefully, and then a mosquito lands on your arm. Before you even think about it, slap. It's gone. And in that split second, you might think, uh-oh, is my precept broken? And here's the absolute key. That precept didn't really exist just because of the ceremony. It only pops into existence in the actual moment you make a conscious choice. So with the mosquito, the precept isn't about the slap. The precept comes to life when you feel that itch, you see the mosquito, you have the urge to kill it, and you actively choose not to. It's all about that internal decision to hold back from doing harm. So this leads to the next logical question, right? If precepts are our choice, and let's be honest, sometimes we fail, what happens then? Well, this is where the law of karma comes in. And we're not talking about some mystical punishment, but just the natural, direct results of our actions. This is the million-dollar question. When we act in a way that's, unskillful, when we make a choice that breaks a precept, there are consequences, but it's not like some divine judge is up there handing out sentences. The teaching explains it as a straightforward system of cause and effect. It's as predictable and impersonal as gravity. And you can see that direct link right here. The source breaks down how certain actions tend to lead to very specific results if you're reborn as a human. For instance, taking life can lead to having a short life yourself, or being sick a lot. If you steal, you might find that you can never hold on to wealth. If you lie all the time, you might find that nobody ever believes a word you say. It's like a perfect mirror reflecting your own actions back at you. Okay, so living by the precepts is obviously super important for creating good karma. But what if that's not the whole picture? What if it's not enough? Our source tells this incredible story from the scriptures that's a bit of a cautionary tale. And it shows why we need something even deeper, a more reliable kind of spiritual protection. So let's set the scene here. We've got a monk, and not just any monk. This guy is diligent. He has spent his life practicing virtue, really observing his precepts. One day, he's just taking a trip on a boat. So he's on the boat, maybe a little bored, and he's just dragging his hand through the water. As he does this, he accidentally breaks a tiny little plant in the water. Now, in the monastic rules, this is a minor offense. But here's the thing. He didn't even notice. It was a totally mindless, tiny little act. All right, now let's fast forward to the end of his life. He's on his deathbed. After a lifetime of virtue and good deeds, what do you think pops into his head? Out of everything he could have remembered, It was the memory of that tiny, forgotten offense. And it brought up this feeling of worry and doubt, right at the most critical moment possible. And here is the absolute shocker, because his very last thought, his final mental state, was clouded by this tiny little worry. That's what determined his next life. In spite of a whole life of doing good, he was reborn as a crocodile. A crocodile! See, this story isn't about how bad the act was. It's about the incredible power of your state of mind at the very end. So, if this can happen to a really diligent monk, what chance do the rest of us have, right? It's a little scary. Well, the teaching says this is exactly why we need a real spiritual safety net, something even more powerful than just our precepts. And that refuge is what's known as the triple gem, taking shelter in the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. So how does this actually work? Well, by bringing the amazing qualities of the Buddha, his teachings, and the spiritual community to mind, again and again, you build up this incredibly powerful and positive state of mind. It becomes like a mental anchor. It's so strong and so positive that at the moment of death, it's way more likely to come up than some random little worry. It can literally override those negative thoughts and steer your mind toward a good rebirth. It's the ultimate safety net. And all of this leads us to our final section, which is honestly the most empowering part of this whole thing. When you put all these pieces together, the truth about precepts, how karma works, and this ultimate refuge, it totally changes how you see your place in the universe. This right here is the heart of it all. Your future isn't some pre-written script. It's not determined by fate or the will of some god. According to this teaching, your life, your future, is the direct result of the causes and effects you are creating with your own actions, right here, today. And when you truly get that, on a deep level, it transforms you. You literally graduate from being a baby Buddhist waiting for a handout. You become a mature, self-reliant practitioner. You stop looking for something outside of yourself to save you, and you start trusting in your own power, in the quality of your own mind to build a better future. So we'll end on this thought. Your future isn't some destination you're trying to get to. It's more like a construction site, and you are the architect. Every single thought, every word, every action, it's another brick you're laying down. So the question is a really powerful one. Knowing that you're the one in charge, what kind of future will you choose to build?